box so I can know that you can hear me very well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so I'll just go ahead now and share my screen. Okay. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, awesome. So yeah, hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's session. I'm really excited to be here, honestly, and I'll just get started immediately. Yeah, so basically today's presentation is going to go in this order. So I'll start with a little introduction about myself, basically tell my transitioning story, and then we'll get into how you can kickstart your own career transition, and then like extra tips that you need on this journey, key takeaways, and basically question and answer session. So my name is Onyedikachi Ibeji, and I'm a product designer. I enjoy designing products that make life easier for people and basically makes people happy. Products that when people use them, they feel seen. They feel like, oh my God, this product recognizes my problem. This product actually has me and my interest at heart, and this product is trying to solve that. So basically, that's what I enjoy doing, and oftentimes my day-to-day work encompasses all of that. Fun fact about me, I enjoy dancing, but I can't dance, which is very funny. I enjoy tweeting a lot. Yeah, it's a good way for me to distress. I listen to music virtually like every single day. I enjoy shopping. I need to make money so that I can shop without looking at my bank account. So I'm just going to move into my story basically. Before UX design, before product design, I was something else. I was a graphic designer. And in fact, let me start from the very beginning. So I studied economics in school, and let me take this out. Sorry. So I studied economics in school, and somewhere along the line, that was probably my 300 level. Yeah, after my 300 level, my family had this financial crisis, and I couldn't go back to school for my final year. So instead of just sitting at home and not doing anything, I said, oh, let me pick up something and just learn for the time frame instead of just staying at home. And I was like, let me do graphic design. Not because I necessarily understood what it was, but because the friends I had then, my roommate, she was doing a bit of graphic design. So you just felt like, oh, I should learn that. And I learned it after a year. I went back to school the next year. And with the experience and the exposure that I had now gotten from graphic design, it was something that I found fascinating. It was something that I found interesting. And I just knew in that moment that after school, this is what I want to do. And I just rolled with it. So after graduation, I continued with my graphic design, learned, started with brand identity design, working on logos, working on flyers, working on social media content, basically things in that space. And then as time goes on, as time went, I had to learn art direction, things like creating campaign materials, advertising materials. I even learned a bit of After Effects, and it was an interesting journey for me. I was enjoying all of those things I was in. I was working with an advertising agency, doing my graphic design, doing my other stuff. But I wanted something new. I I wanted to go into product design because I found it fascinating. I found it it was broader really than the graphic design that I was doing at that time. And I was like, why not just try it? Why not just do it? If it works, if that is what you love, you continue with it. If it's not what you love, you just go back to your graphic design. And then I left my job, and then I was like, I want to learn this thing because I tried learning it with my job, but somehow I wasn't coping. And then I had to leave because I wanted to learn it. And I would say that was the beginning of my transitioning journey. Now, let me, when I started the journey, I was clueless, to be honest, and I was scared and I was confused. Scared in the sense that, am I sure that I'm making the right decision? I was confused because I didn't know where to start from. As at that time, majority of my friends were graphic designers or art directors. They were not product designers. And so I didn't know where to start from. I know people would say, go to YouTube, watch videos, it's something you just learn on your own. I mean, I learned graphic design on my own with the help of guidance and all those things and YouTube videos, but somehow it just felt like I couldn't do that same thing with product design. And then I was like, is this even going to be worth it? Should I just stick to um what I'm comfortable with and just stay in my space? And then I was like, okay, even if I want to do this, how long is it going to take me? These are a series of questions that I had. And at that point, I really did not have answers to them. But before I get into the whole how you can transition and all of this stuff, I want us to take a pause here and then talk about who a graphic designer is basically, and who a UI UX designer is, or a product designer. Now, a graphic designer uses like colors, typography. By typography, I mean like fonts, text, images to communicate a message through visual design. So basically, what you see, I want to pass a message at first, and then I use graphic design. I use a combination of text, I use a combination of images to pass across that message. Now, graphic design is pixel focused. Now, when I say pixel focused, it has to do with beauty. How beautiful is this thing that I'm doing? How visually and pleasing is it to the eyes? In terms of the aesthetics, in terms of, you look at some designs, some posters, or some album covers of some social media content. Like, this design is very beautiful, it's very nice. That's essentially, I mean, it goes deeper than that, but on the surface, that's what graphic design does. It's more of pixels, things that look beautiful, eye-catching, engaging. They can grab your attention and keep you there for some time. But UI UX, on the other hand, is about sorry. So UI UX, on the other hand, is about developing systems, products. By product, I don't mean just physical products. I mean like the app that you use, the website that you go to, how you can design those things with the best human experience, so that when somebody is going through it, the person is able to understand the message that is being passed across. The person can use what has been built or what has been designed. The design is something that solves the person's problem. For example, how you want to book an Airbnb, and then you go to maybe the site, you find the apartment you want, you see everything about the apartment, how much it will cost, and all of this stuff, and you're able to book for it. Now, that is not just visual design that looks appealing. It is something that has solved the problem for you. Now, the difference between graphic design and UI UX design is that UI UX is more user focused. When you're designing, it's more about putting the user's needs in front of you. You're more like a servant. You're like, I'm designing for this person. What would this person want to see? What kind of pain is this person going through? What kind of frustration is this person going through? How can what I'm designing, solve this person's problem? How can it make life easier for this person? UI UX is broader than graphic design. So I feel like I should explain the difference, and then we can proceed from there basically. So now that we've talked about that, let's dive into how you can kickstart your own career transition. In between, I'll be giving examples from my own story and from my own personal experience and all that. I want at the end of this session that everyone who is here feels empowered to make a career transition. Everybody here feels like this is something that I can do. To be honest, it is something that is in you, it's something that you can do. It might look like it's something overwhelming or something that you don't know where to start from. But believe me, people have done it and you also can do it. And as the session goes on, if you have like questions, please drop it in the chat box. After the session, I will attend to those questions really. So first of all, start with taking, I'll just list everything and then I'll go in depth. So start with taking a crash course on UX design. Build on the basics that you already know from the crash course. Learn by studying, copying and replicating designs that you see around you. Join a design community. Shadow a senior or an experienced designer. Leverage on your graphic design superpowers. Then balance your learning by working on a case study on an actual project. Then apply for internship or full-time jobs. So I'm just going to go like in depth on each and every one of them. So the first one is start by taking a crash course on UX design. I say start with this because, to be honest, when you're trying to make that transition, except if you have been in the field, maybe there are some people that are trying to make the transition, they know a lot about it, but they've intentionally not started doing it yet. But for someone who is entirely clueless on how to start, I would recommend you taking a crash course or you going for a boot camp. Now, I know boot camps are expensive, so if you cannot afford to do that, then take a crash course. The reason for that is taking a crash course kind of puts your learning, makes your learning more structured. It's just like when you go to school, you have curriculum. You know that for the first semester, this is everything that I'm going to be taught. So it provides a form of structure. Oh, this on the surface, this is how a design process should be like. It just makes your learning more organized, and it introduces you to the basics so that you don't have a situation where you're learning things in bits and they are scattered. Personally, I felt that way when I wanted to like use YouTube alone to learn, because I would see someone tweet something about research and then I'll go read about research, and then someone might come and say something about usability or how this product is not really something that I understand, and then I'll go. So it just felt like everything was scattered and there wasn't any form of connection or intersection between them. But when you take like a course, it explains the design process for you to work on something or for you to work on a problem or for you to solve a challenge. It shows you that process. It might not go in depth into everything, but it provides a form of syllabus or curriculum or course outline for you to follow. Now, there are different platforms that offer UX courses. There are some that are paid, and then there are some that are free. You can take the free ones if you cannot afford to take the paid one. For example, Udacity has a course on product design that's free. So you can basically take that course. If you have like resources or finance to pay for the paid ones, there is Interaction Design Foundation. That's the one that I took. So they have like, they even structured it in a way that you have beginners level, you have intermediate, you have advanced, just like you have in school. So basically your learning follows a path and you're able to even measure your learning, like, oh, okay, I've learned this to this, or these things that I've learned, okay, I understand how this one works. I understand how what I've learned in beginners class, I understand how it relates to the foundation or to any other classes that you have there. You can also take like courses on Udemy, crash course on introduction to UX design. Then Google also has this UX course that you can also take. Then you can build on the basics. Now that you have a structure, you already have those outlines. It's easier for you to now build on it. For example, if the course you're taking has said, oh, at the beginning of the design process, you need to conduct research. Now you already have a topic in mind, research. It now guides the videos that you watch. You can now go on YouTube and say, oh, how do I conduct research for a UX for a problem or a UX design challenge? What are the different types of research methods? What research method is best? So now you already have something that you're working with, and it provides a form of like a learning path for you, basically. The second class you might take in your course might be on your boot camp, anyone you're taking, might be, design itself. You get probably how to design the interface of whatever thing you're working on. Now what I want to learn more on, what I want to go in depth on is interface design. Now you can go to YouTube, or you can even buy books, or you can even read articles now on how do I know the right typography to use? How do I know the right hierarchy to use, font hierarchy to use on my product? So now you're seeing that these ones the course has given you a curriculum, and now you doing your own learning is building on it. So you're taking from both sides, and it feels like everything is on a path. It doesn't feel scattered, because to be honest, sometimes imposter syndrome gets to you and you just feel like, what am I even doing? It happened to me. You'll be like, what am I even doing? But if you have something that you can track and say, oh, I have learned this, so maybe I know this 50%, I know this topic 20%. The imposter syndrome is not there as per what are you even doing with time. You get, now oh, these are the things I have done. These are things I find difficult. These are the things that I want to develop on or know more about. I'll put it in the chat box so that we can visit there if we want to, or check out those resources. These are some of my favorite resources. Agent Smart is a YouTube channel. He talks a lot about UX design, UX processes. So if you want to understand how research works, if you want to understand how to conduct usability tests, how you've done your design, and you want me to test what you have done to even know if people can even use what you've done. He has like a lot of resources on how you can do that. Then UX Collective on Medium. It's like I think it's a publication, publication on Medium. They have a lot of UX resources, UX articles, other UX designers that write articles from their personal experience, from their work experience, from things that they see. You can read from them and build on the basics or the foundation that you already have. Then the next one is learn by studying, copying, and replicating designs. Now, when you're transitioning, when you're going into product design or UI UX design, you want to start seeing things differently. For example, the way someone would look at, let me use Twitter because that's one app I really love. The way someone would look at Twitter, a regular user would look at Twitter, would be, oh, go there, tweet, like, retweet, share, and move on. But you who is trying to get into that field, you need to now get in-depth understanding. So now you're trying to put yourself in the shoes of whoever has designed that product. You want to understand why certain decisions are made. So now it's not just you using the platform or using the product and going in it. It's you now taking time to understand, why did they use this font size? Why do we have this font color here? For example, when Twitter changed the follow button from blue to white, why do we have that? So all those things of trying to understand and then study the designs. Oh, you're like, okay, on Twitter, I noticed some fonts are smaller, some are bigger, some are brighter, some are darker. You're trying to now understand, oh, maybe this one is of more priority. That is why it is larger, or that is why it is more visible. But why is it even of more? So those questions you're asking yourself in the process of studying and trying to understand, it helps you sharpen your design thinking skills, which is also very essential when it comes to UX design, because really it's not about designing the interface or using colors or fonts and make it look very beautiful. It's about the usability. Can people use what you have built? You get, can people look at it, use it, and then it solves people's problem? But now, when you're trying to study products or study apps or study websites, now you're getting a different level of understanding. Okay, oh, this is why this was done here. So now, when you are working on your own product or your own design or your own, even when you're trying to replicate or copy or redesign, more like a practice session for you. You know what to look out for, and you know why certain decisions are, because for every design that you see, to be honest, decisions were made, and you have to be able to know why certain decisions were made. And it's okay if you don't have the answers on the spot, but the fact that you're thinking about those things actually helps you sharpen your design thinking skills, and also your visual skills. So now you're seeing that everything on the Twitter homepage is not the same color, it's not the same font size, it's not the same font width. Now you're seeing that, oh, okay, some should be more pronounced than some. You're exposing your eyes to good design, really. And in the long run, because UI UX is a balance of both UI, which is like your normal design that you see, and then UX, which is the thinking behind it. So now doing that balances both your UI and then also your UX skills. So these are a list of platforms that I drew and I still draw. I still draw inspiration from these platforms, really. If you go to awards.com, it has like a lot of websites that you can basically draw. Even if you do it once a day, and say, oh, I'm going to this platform to look at this product, this thing that has been designed. Oh, okay, I love what they did here. I love what they did here. Okay, so the text that they use, oh, I guess why they use this text here. If you're able to do that every day, believe me, your product design thinking starts to get different. You start to see some, and then sometimes you look at and be like, oh no, this product, the UX is bad because it wasn't easy for me to use and understand. All those things you're doing now are shaping your product thinking. Again, you can also use your day-to-day applications or day-to-day products that you use. It could be your WhatsApp, it could even be any product that you use on a day-to-day basis. Now it's not just you using it and going, it's now you trying to study and understand it. And now you studying and understanding it is sharpening your UX and product design skills. Now you trying to replicate it. Okay, for example, now this my slide here, you want to replicate it. You can use any tool that you want to. That's like a different course on its own, but you can use any tool that you want to. And then as you're replicating it, you're balancing your UI, you're balancing your UX. The more you do that, you're exposing yourself to good design, you're exposing yourself to product thinking, you're exposing yourself to making good design decisions, you're exposing yourself to the entire design process. That's one thing that I know that really helps me. What I did was every single day, I told myself, okay, I would read something on UX and then I would replicate a design. So I did that every day. And as time goes on, the very first design I replicated was horrible. And then maybe on the fifth day, the design I had done, and then I looked at the one I did, because I did everything on a single file. So I could even be seeing day one, I would label it day one, this is design. Day two, this is design. Day three. As time went on, I was seeing that, oh, my UI skills are getting better than the way they were at the beginning. I could have conversations with people and tell them this is the reason why I made this font this small. This is the reason why. And to be honest, you have to be able to know the reasons why you're making certain design decisions. Because in the long run, even when you fully transition, it's those design when you're able to articulate why you did something, that's why you're able to get buy-ins from probably maybe your CEO or your manager or all that, to show that it's not just vibes that used to design. they actually have a reason why certain decisions were made. So I took a screenshot of my Gmail to illustrate that. So for example, this is how Gmail looks like when a message comes in. And this is how it looks like when the message has been read. So you can see that they try to make it clear so that there's a difference between what is read and what is not read. These things look very small and almost not noticeable. But if you bring out time to understand why certain apps are the way they are, and okay, oh, this is what they did here, it just helps you make better designs, to be honest. Look at how bold the ones that have not been read are, and look at how the ones that have not been read, how the color is faded, it's not really in your face like that. Look at how it tells you at the top that, oh, you have 11,908 messages, but on this page, you have 1 to 50. So these little things, they are helpful, because as a user, I use all these things. To be honest, before then, I was using all these things, but it was not just clicking to me that these things were important. Look at how the inbox looks inside. Oh, this is how it looks inside. This is how the main topic looks. It is bold and it is in your face. Okay, they had it here because, oh, I should be able to know what message I'm currently reading at the time. Okay, oh, look at this one, the smaller text. Oh, then there's an unsubscribe, meaning that if I don't want to receive newsletter from this people, I can unsubscribe there. But if unsubscribe wasn't there, then it means that, oh, if I want to unsubscribe, then I won't be able to do that. So these little things actually matter. And when we take our time to start to understand and replicate these designs, we actually grow faster. Second one, I would say join a design community. Now, when I say join a design community, I don't mean community of 100 people, 150 people. I mean, you can do that if you can afford to. But if you have like 2 or 3 people that are helping you on your journey, that's a community for me. If you have people that you can either learn from or people that you can draw motivation from, that's a design community. If you have people that you can go to with questions, people that, for example, how we looked at Gmail and dissected it, and how you can have some questions. If you have people that you can brainstorm with or ask those questions, that's a community. Now, for example, Treford is a bootcamp. So Treford bootcamp is a community, to be honest. People that are in your class are community. If you're taking a course, people that are taking those courses with you is a community. You can all sit together and share ideas on what, on what you've read. When I was doing mine, I had a friend. She's a more experienced designer than I was, or that I am, to be honest. But she was taking a course that I was taking also. So what I did was I reached out to her and I asked her if she didn't mind we having like a discussion class. So probably maybe like once a week, maybe Saturdays and Sundays, I would read a chapter of that course. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we would talk about it. I would tell her what I had read and what I understood. And if I had questions, I would ask. So doing that, and then she was explaining from a real world perspective. There are some things that I would read and then I would explain to her, and she'd be like, oh yes, that's good in theory, but in practice, you don't have the whole time to go through the entire design process. In real life, these are the challenges that you have. In real life, you will have a boss that will not want to understand why you've made certain decisions. So she was helping me balance real world expectations and what I was reading. So if you have people like that, it will really help your growth, and it will also help you understand a lot of things. This one is extremely important. Like I can't even overemphasize this. So shadow a more experienced. When I say shadow, I mean gum yourself to a more experienced designer. Now, when I did this, I didn't do it because of money, because I had some, I would send random DMs to people that were designers that I like. I would say, hi, my name is Tachi. I've been following your work for a while. I really love your designs. I love this. I love that. Please, this is where I currently am in my journey. If you don't mind, if you have any project that you're working on, any side project, and you need like a design assistant or an intern, or just someone to work with you, please, I'm available. Don't hesitate to like let me know and all that. I sent that kind of DMs to many people because I felt like, okay, from the discussions I was having with my other friend, and she was telling me, you like this one, what you're reading is this. I needed to get involved in real life situations. You get, and then some of them actually were nice enough to bring me on their project. And then I was able to see some things like, okay, sometimes they would tell me, oh, design a screen or maybe a sign up screen. And then I'll design a sign up screen. And then they'd be like, no, 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 no. This design is not accessible. And I'll be like, what is accessible? And they'll be like, yeah, there's no contrast. The background and the background color and the text color is not really different. It's not really clear. People can't see it like that. I was like, oh, accessibility. I wrote it down. I went back to my YouTube channel and then some blogs to go and read what is accessibility, how can my design be more accessible. So I was getting points from working from them, and then I was also building myself. Okay. So sometimes they would say, oh, use auto layout for this. And I'll be like, okay, auto layout, what's auto layout? And then they would show me like one example of how that works. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll run back again to YouTube, how to use auto layout in this. So it was me trying to balance what I was reading and then learning from people that are actually doing the work. And the sweet thing is, if they are nice people, the ones that I worked with were nice enough to allow me to put that project in my portfolio, that I actually worked on it, and then my role on it. So it's also like one of the fastest ways because you're asking questions in real time and you're getting replies in real time, and you're able to see, oh, in a working environment, this is what you should do. This is so a lot of things that I could not learn on my own from YouTube or on my own from the course I had taken. I was learning from them on that project. So I would say shadow and experience. And to be honest, you will get a lot of news. Some people will even air you, but see, don't tie your learning to one person. If one person airs you, it's all right. People are not indebted to you. You're not entitled to their time and all that. I'll move to the next person. Send to so many people. And trust me, people really want to help designers or people that are trying to get into this field. I know some might not reply, but you will find someone, even if it's just one person, that would want to bring you in on what they are working on, to be honest. Then this one, leverage on your graphic design superpower. So when I was making that switch, I was very much convinced that I was starting from scratch. Like I made peace with that and said to myself, it's one of those things, you're starting from the scratch again. How many years in graphic design is gone. It was a phase that's come to an end. But I mean, even as at last 2 weeks, I had this conversation with a senior designer, more experienced designer than myself. And then he was telling me that, see, UX design is a multidisciplinary field. By multidisciplinary field, I mean it is a field that accommodates everybody. There is no experience that you have before coming to UX design. I say it's not just for graphic designers that are transitioning, even people from other fields. There is no skill that you have before that is a waste when it comes to UX design, to be honest. If it's your graphic design, you already know how fonts work, you already know how colors work, you already know contrast, you already know layouts, you already know grids, you already know how font hierarchy works. And these things are still applicable in product design. So don't feel like, oh, because I am transitioning from graphic design to product design, it means that I am starting from scratch again. No, you are not. You have transferable skills that you can take into product design. If you are a fashion designer, you already know how colors work. You know how patterns work. You can craft your own patterns. It is something that you can bring into product design. If you are a copywriter, you already know how writing works. You know how communication works. Bring that into product design. If you were in marketing, you know how to influence people's behaviors. Bring that into. So product design is, or UI UX is, it's a field that embraces you from everywhere, to be honest. So don't feel like, oh, because I'm moving from this field to that product design, it means that all that I've learned before is a waste. No, it's not a waste. You have transferable skills. You have your unique story. and your unique story is relevant in product design. To be honest, there are some sites that you see and you just think, wow, because the person, it is photography, the person has brought their whole photography essence into it. What people would have done based in a basic way, a photographer would bring a unique touch, add shadow, add lightning, like everything would look so beautiful. You get, so don't feel like because I am transitioning into product design, then everything I knew before product design is a waste. No, it's not a waste. You have transferable skills that you can bring into this field. And also in line with this, because product design, UX design is a tool. It's a tool that is used in solving problems for different industries. So UX design is not just for tech. You have UX design in music. We are using design. People are building software. People are building products that are helping the music industry. When it comes to acting, people are building and they need designers. People know when it comes to finance, you see like different apps that are coming to solve people's problems. Those people need UX designers. So in different fields, you have finance and UX married together. You have music and UX married together. You have even in the fashion designing world, people are using AR and VR to do marvelous things. And then if you have a background in fashion designing or tailoring, you have an edge there because you're able to provide more context and more perspective. If it's pharmacy, if it's medicine, you that transition from a medical background to UX design, you're bringing your source, you're bringing your knowledge about, because in all these things, UX design is to solve people's problems. So you have to be able to understand the problem that you want to solve for. So don't feel because I'm transitioning into product design and everything I've learned before is a waste. No, it's not a waste. Then this one is about balancing your learning by working on a case study. Now, in the process of your learning, you'd have taken courses, you'd have taken, you have read books, you'd have maybe shadowed designers before, you have done a lot of things. Now even if you don't know it 100%, which nobody does, by the way, nobody knows this thing 100%. You already know what you can use to work on a case study. Now, let me explain what a case study is. By case study, I mean you have seen a problem and then you try to solve for that problem. Now, the advantage of doing that is that now you are combining all that you have learned into a project. So probably you have learned about research in theory. You have learned about analyzing data in theory. You have learned about usability tests in theory. You have learned all these things in theory. Now do it in practice on that project. For example, I worked on a product that helps people feel happier. You get, I mean, it's not the best project, but it was my own avenue of testing and applying all that I had learned. So what I did was, I had learned from my course that, when you want to start this thing, do research. Like, okay, there are different types of research, quantitative, qualitative, whether you want to send survey, whether you want to have a one-on-one interview with people, want to talk, ask them questions, and then get replies. I've gotten these different methods, and then I used that in my own case study or in my own problem that I was trying to solve for. So I said, let me start with research. I have to create a survey. Okay, how can I create a good survey? I went back to YouTube. How can I create a good survey? They say, your survey should not be survey that will make people biased. Don't ask questions that I already know how the answer will turn out. Like, okay. So I was even learning while working on that project. You get, and the good thing is you go through the entire design process and you begin to understand things differently from how you viewed them when you were looking at it in theory. And also you have something to put in your portfolio. So I have done this case study, I have worked on this project. You document how you did it. I did research first. I talked to 5 people, 2 were my family members, asked them this question, this was what they said, this thing I want to work on, this is the goal I have in mind for this particular thing. At the end of the whole project, I would let you guys know if the solution I built or the thing I designed solved this problem. So now you narrated the whole process that you used for that design, and then you have like screenshots of the design and all that. Creating a portfolio is a whole topic on its own. But doing this will expose you to how real life working situation looks like. And you want to get yourself exposed to that on time so that you can balance, expectations and all that. And also you can put that in your portfolio. So you're building your portfolio, you're building your knowledge, you're expanding your skill set. It's win-win on all sides, to be honest. And then when you're done with that, you can share with any other designer that you know and say, oh, please, I worked on this. Please take a look at this. Again, you can send random DMs. See, if you're learning this thing, you have to be shameless. Sorry, you have to be shameless. Nobody is going to carry your market on their head the way you will. So you just have to be very, 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 very intentional about it. So broadcast it to everybody. This is what I've worked on. Please have a look at it. What do you think? Gather feedback or what can be better. But that is how you actually learn, by reaching out to people and actually talking with people. Then the last one is apply for internships or full-time role. It depends on your level of confidence. Some people are so confident that they just go for full-time role straight up. Some people don't really feel so confident. They just go for internship. Anyone you do, just apply for either internship, full-time role, or a volunteer role, so that you start to see. Because to be honest, a course cannot cover everything that happens in real life situations. There are some things that I'm learning now in the office that were not part of what I was taught in my course, or part of the things that were on the project that I shadowed someone. There are challenges that I face now that is stretching me and making me a better designer, of which if I was not in this situation or in this job or in this role, I probably wouldn't even be interacting with that kind of challenge. So apply for internships. You will never feel like you are confident enough. That's the truth. There's always a part of your head that will be telling you, are you sure that you can do this? Are you sure you're fit? That's not your job. It's not your job to disqualify yourself. Leave that job for the hiring manager, to be honest. If you see any internship, apply. UX design internship, apply. If you have so much confidence, you can even apply for full-time job if you feel like your case study and what you've learned so far is strong enough. Again, learning never ends. It never does. People, again, UX design is about solving people's problems. People keep having new problems every day. The problem that people had yesterday is different from the problem that people have now. People always have different, people are changing. Who I was or who people were years ago is different from who they are now. As they are evolving, the kind of problems that they go through is also evolving. So there's no one person that can say, oh, I truly understand how humans work. No. So learning is something that happens every single day. And that is why you see Twitter keep rolling out updates. Oh, we've brought Flip. Oh, we've taken it Flip out. People are not using the way we want to use it. Oh, we brought Twitter Space. Oh, we've brought voice notes. Oh, we've taken the voice notes out. Oh, people keep, because humans keep changing. People keep trying to learn human beings and how to solve for their problems. So don't wait till you're 100% ready before you apply for internship. Again, you get rejection. Rejections are normal, but don't allow it stop you. Don't allow it make you feel like you're not fit for this. Really, you get the one that will click for you. You have to keep being persistent. Again, this is your market. Nobody is going to be more motivated for your market than you, the seller. So so basically I will just wrap up with this. It's an extra bonus, more like learning attitude that will help in line with like other things that I have said. Number one is stay consistent and disciplined. Truth be told, you will not feel motivated every day. I'm talking like myself, I will not feel motivated every day. I said I was going to be designing and I was going to copy a design, replicate it. I did not feel motivated. It was not every day that I felt the ginger, but that discipline of if I don't do this, I will not go. If I don't do this, I will not get better. It was what kept me going, to be honest. And then there are some days that my designs are not really there, but I'm happy that at least I showed up that day and I designed something. But in the long run, they say practice makes perfect. There's nothing like practice. For me, there's nothing like practice makes perfect. Practice makes progress because perfection is an illusion. So the more you keep practicing, the more you keep getting better. The more your progress keeps, getting better and better. So consistency and discipline will take you further on this journey. Secondly, stay curious. You will have a lot of questions. You will not understand how a lot of things work. Please stay curious. Keep asking questions. How does this work? Why is this working like this? Why did they take this one out? Okay, why is this thing? Why is this button here? Why is this button white? Why is this text? Even if you feel like the questions are silly, which they are not, keep asking. Stay curious because the more you ask, the more you get answers. If you don't ask questions, no one will know that you don't know why certain things work or you don't know the answers to something. So the more you ask questions, the more people are able to give you answers. And there's something about people. People like to talk, to be honest. I say this maybe because it's my marketing now background that's speaking. People like to talk. They just want to know that there's somebody listening. So it will amaze you how you would ask one question, and that one question that you have asked someone will give birth to a long story of other insightful things that you probably didn't even ask about. So stay curious, ask a lot of questions, be open to receiving feedback and criticism on your work. Don't take any feedback personal. Any feedback that is given on your work is given on your work. You as a person, you are different from your work. So an attack on your work is not an attack on you. If you become defensive, people will shy away from giving you sincere feedback. And you really want to get as much feedback as you can early in the process of your transitioning. Even after you transition, generally, you want to be able to know that, oh, I can share this with someone. Someone can tell me, oh, this does not work because of this, or this will not work because of this. You have to be able to be open to receiving feedback from people and not being defensive about what you've done or defensive about your work or the decision that you have made. Yeah, basically that's everything. Thank you so much.
Whoa, that's a great one there. Thank you so much, Kachi, for that. Please let's put our let's use the reactions button to put our hands together for her. Just like that. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, I can see the chat there. Thank you so much for the session. Yes, yes. We've learned a whole lot. And yes, please now, this is the time. I think, Kachi, you're open for some questions.
Yes, yes.
Great. So now is the time where you all get to ask questions. She has shared so much insight. I see a lot of things coming from the chat. Thank you so much. There were a lot of things that were dropping, like everybody was feeling as they were dropping, like some factual knowledge during the course of the session. So it was coming into the chat. But yeah, let's hear from people now. Anyone who has a question, you can raise your hand. Faith, I see your hand raised, but your mic is not connected. So okay, I'll bring that. Right, brother.
So I think we have like some questions. I've seen some people raising their hands up.
Yes, Boluwatife, I've asked Boluwatife to unmute himself.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good evening.
Yeah, nice session for me. Like, I'm really grateful. I've learned a lot. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Yeah. So like, I'll like to ask if you can recommend. Like, I think you made mention of a few YouTube links we can probably like watch videos from. Like, I want you to recommend more if you have more that will help us on our journey of learning this UI UX now, and I'll be really grateful.
Sure. So yeah, I don't know how this will work. So I could probably create a list of different YouTube videos and then share. But I don't know how I would share that. Probably you can reach out to me on Twitter. It's Kachi
Yeah,
Deji.
you share your Twitter
Yeah.
handle so I think
Yes, I'll just drop it now.
thank
Yes.
you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Right. So if it's something that everyone wants as well, if you share with us and share in catching up with that to everyone. Yeah. So I can also share the feedback mail. There's gonna be a feedback mail. So yes, you can do. So we also have Adidamola's and Rose. Hi Adidamola.
Hello, good day, everyone. Hello, Kachi.
Hi.
Enjoyed your presentation. It was lovely. Good flow, good
Thank you.
communication, really awesome. I'm Ademola Banijo. I'm a brand consultant. I've been working as a creative for about let's say over 10 years. And
Wow.
as a result, yeah, as a result, I've been in the intersection of this transitioning, at different phases. So there was a time that it was Corel Draw that was the in thing and printing. So I did a lot of that. Then logo design and branding. I did that. So I've always seen myself at an intersection where I had to transition. And recently, because of the whole, let me say, buzz around UI UX, I've been having to I've been trying that transition, but in the case of UI UX, I noticed that it was a bit different. So it has not even been easy. Hence the reason I came for this session, and I really liked your presentation. My personal question is: I've been trying to find a zero to hero course on product design. So I've not found. So do you have a course that kind of like gives that flow? You gave certain examples. You gave Udacity, interaction design, Google UX. But is there a course you did that kind of like had that step by step, or a particular maybe a YouTuber that has that kind of just ABC, then maybe three-letter words, then maybe sentences kind of approach to learning product design? That's my question.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Adidamola. No, sorry, Ademola. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, Ademola.
Yeah.
Okay, so um, I would say so because UI web is a blend of two worlds. To be honest, you have the
Okay.
UI that is visual and all the design and everything. Then you have UX that like the product thinking and all those things. Oftentimes, the
Okay.
courses that I find are are separated. So it's either the person is focusing on UI or the person
Okay.
is focusing on UX. Yes. So how I did it was I tried to learn UI separately, UX separately. So
Okay.
I didn't find one course that was taking UI, like you'll be designing and then talking about UX. Yeah. But for IDF, that Interaction Design Foundation, it helps a lot with the UX thinking. You get because you're able to follow the design process. It starts with research. It tells you, oh, there are different types of research. There's
Okay.
quantitative, there's qualitative. It tells you the different methods under qualitative. So it goes in depth on UX, but it doesn't talk about UI. You get so what I would recommend would be for you. I'm thinking of how I could do this. So for UX, I know IDF covers that, but for UI, I would have to research and then find like proper YouTube channels that go in depth on UI design itself. But for UX, IDF covers that. Even that Google UX course or even the Udacity course actually covers that, at least on the surface level. But for UI, I would need to research and then find a YouTube channel basically that talks about that. Oh yeah, someone recommended Overlay. Yeah, Overlay is nice. I think that's Leslie. Yeah, great teacher.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And we
Yeah,
have a
thank you.
few
But
more
I
people
would
on the list.
also research. Yeah, I also research and then share with you. I think I follow your Instagram already, so I'll just share with you the ones I find.
So, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know if I answered the last question.
Yes. Please let us know in the chat. Yes. For those who just joined in and would like to get a review of the session, it will be sent to you immediately after the session. It's being recorded and YouTube, so you can get it. So we have a few more hands up. I think let's Blossom's hand was up before to retire and proceed. Yes, so Blossom.
Hello, good evening. Thank you very much for
Hi,
the
good
presentation.
evening.
I really enjoyed it and I learned a lot. The question I want to ask is, how did you? Okay, first of all, what's your general take on the whole on softwares that you need to learn for UI UX or product design? So like the softwares for different parts, because I know there's one for prototyping, for wireframing, for everything, the core design itself, different softwares, different applications. So can you just speak on that? Then like share how you were able to go from one software to the other, one software to the other without being overwhelmed. Yes, thank you.
All right, Blossom. That's a very, very good question, actually. So the thing is, design tools evolve, to be very honest. Design tools change. It's a trend. So you might have this period, probably it's Figma that is reigning, and everybody is all about Figma. And then next couple of years, it's another software. Okay, so we have like different softwares that actually, there was a time it was Sketch. It was like if you're not using Sketch, you're not doing it well. And then Sketch has phased out really. And then you have like Adobe XD, and then now it seems like Figma is like the one that's winning. So I would say that you shouldn't tie your learning to a software. Find software that you are comfortable with. You get software that you can use. I, for one, don't know how to use those. So I don't know how to use Sketch. I know how to use Adobe XD a bit, but just Figma that I use. For now, I use Figma. I use Figma for everything because Figma can prototype. I use Figma for my wireframes. I use Figma for everything. At least now, I might want to learn how other softwares work, but not because I feel like my learning or my design skill is tied to those softwares. I'm learning there to see, oh, I might want to learn Framer, maybe prototype to say, oh, I've heard that it's good for prototype. Let me see how it works. Oh, I think I prefer my Figma to it. So it's not even about the tools, because the basics still remain the same across all those tools. It's still the same draw shape, connect frame to frame. You get. So just find a software that you are comfortable with. You don't need to know the whole software. You don't, so you don't get overwhelmed or you don't get confused. And even if you want to learn those softwares, it's something that you do gradually, not because learning those software will make you a better designer, but maybe because of out of sheer curiosity as to how those things work, and then you're able to check them out. So it's not a must that you know the whole software, to be honest. I use just Figma and it works for me. Okay. I don't know if that answers your question, Blossom.
Yes, it's fine. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I think we have some people raising their hands. I don't know if Trevor is on the call. Let's see. Hi, Favor. Are you still here?
Okay. Hello. Good evening.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. So my name is Temitayo. I'm more of a graphics and web designer. And
Okay.
my major question is just, in some curriculums, yeah, I see UI UX design, UI UX designer, product designer, and the way I see it, I think they are more of different fields. But to some people, they relate it as, oh, they are the same. So I don't really have that. I don't really understand what's the thing there. Because I've checked some because okay, just like you said, I'm trying to get a school where I can really, really learn it and, okay, be good at it. So in the school curriculum, I saw UI UX design, I saw product design, and different course outline for the two of them. So I was a bit confused that are they two different things entirely, or can you just try and expatiate?
Okay. All right. Basically, UI designer is someone who designs. UI means user interface designer. So someone that designs interface. Again, I'm going to use my Twitter here. So the person that designed what you're seeing, where the display picture is, where the text is, the person that did all of that is a UI designer. Now, a UX designer would probably be someone who did the thinking and said, oh, you know what? People have been saying on Twitter, oh, Twitter should not be free. Twitter should be paid. This app should not be free. And then people are doing giveaway on Twitter. From the research that we've gathered, we have like 70,000 people, that have done giveaways on Twitter or that have received giveaway from Twitter. You get. So I think if we add the monetization feature on Twitter, it would be a great feature for our users. They will find it very useful. It will make people stay on Twitter more often. That would be a UX. So now the person is doing the product thinking. The person is telling you, okay, so let me design how it should be. Because sometimes some people do UI UX as one person. Depends on how large the company is. Some people do UI as just one person, UX one person. Some people have UX researchers, one person. It depends on how big the company is, you get. But oftentimes, when someone says they are a UI UX person, UI UX means that the person does both. So the person is doing the thinking, carrying the user's matter on their head and saying, oh, this feature we have here, it's not going to be good for users. This button we have here, users will not find this button on time. You get. Sometimes you would have one person who carries both roles, you get. So it really depends on the company, because oftentimes companies are the ones that dictate these titles to people. Depends on the company. It also depends on the person's role, what the person does, really. But oftentimes these roles are interchangeable. One person might be like, I saw someone ask a question also about product designer and UI UX. What's the difference? Oftentimes it means the same thing on paper, to be honest, but just that product design is wider. Unlike one person doing UI, one person doing UX research, one person doing product designer is jack of all trades. They know how every bit of, even if they are not perfect in everything, they know how a bit of everything works. Even after they have designed, they will still follow up with the developers. Oh, developer, this thing you have designed and this thing on my file, they are not the same thing. No. This text that I put here, it's not the same. So they always go through everything. You get, they carry the project from the beginning to the end. They don't say, oh, my own is UI, I've done the UI, my work has finished. You get. I don't know if that answers your question.
Okay, if I can put it in another way, that means that a project designer is the more of the person that follows up to the project all through. That means I can also say that product design encompasses UI UX amongst other activities, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I think I get it now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, hello. Thank you very much for that. We have one more person, that's Osita. Yeah, I hope I got the pronunciation of the name.
Yeah, thank you. You pronounced it well. Osita Adimma. Thank you, Kachi, and thank you, Treford, for this very explicit, mind-blowing session. So I wanted to ask about the software between Adobe SD and Figma, but you gave clarity on that. So, but then I would like to know, for somebody that is just starting from the scratch, like you had said, UI and US can be different fields that complement each other. Now, how did you do your journey? Did you start out with UX before UI, or probably UI before US, or you kind of took the both head on and you were able to juggle between? Because I know they can be quite different. UX will want to talk about the experience, but then UI want to, the whole aesthetics and visual appeal that it does. And they both can be different and broad, even as they complement each other. So starting on this journey, would you recommend, okay, since we have a graphic design background, that on average, we want to start with the UI, enhance our abilities to design all of those visuals, then go into the US, which is to now incorporate the experience, how to design the experience? Or do you think it's way better that since you have a designing background, that you rather start up with UX and then you do UI? That's the first question. Then secondly, for those of us that are not really the Twitter guys, can we find you on LinkedIn or Instagram?
Okay, all right, Osita, thank you for that very brilliant question, actually. So for the first question, I leveraged on my graphic design background. So I had like an understanding of how, if not, like I wouldn't say it was really wow, but at least I understood how colors work, how spacing, hierarchy, I understood a bit about how those things work because I had already been doing a bit of that in my graphic design. But for UX, I was totally clueless because UX had to do with all those research methods, all those usability tests, all those user flow, user tasks. It was alien to me. So I was like, okay, I already have like an idea of how the UI works a bit. Let me focus on the UX. So I would say I placed more priority on the UX for me because I was like, okay, if I understand how the UX works, then when I'm learning the UI, it would make sense to me why I was designing something. But if I start with the design now, it means that I am just focusing on the aesthetics, how it looks, but all those the brain work, the thinking behind it, design thinking did not make sense to me. So I started with understanding UX first. I took a lot of courses, I read books, a lot of books actually on UX before I now started to now look at the UI part. And then I started to see, okay, what's that bridge? What's that gap between what I know in graphic design about all those things and what I need to like learn more on when it comes to UI design and all that. So again, it depends on your level of learning. If you feel like you have like probably like 10% of how all these graphic design things like typography, all those things, you might want to say, oh, let me focus on UX, and then add that, then I'll come back to the UI. And if you feel like you're strong enough, you can take both of them at the same time, then why not? I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, that's nice. I think it's a personal preference thing, though. I'm kind of a bit more attracted to the UI, but then we'll take both on. And then secondly, how can we find you outside Twitter and outside your house?
Yeah, I just sent oh sorry, I think I sent it the wrong person. So I'm just going to type my name on LinkedIn where you can find me there. So again, remember what I said that UI UX is not just about design, it's about solving people's problems, to be honest. So even when you're learning your UI, you still need to understand the UX so that what you're designing is not just something beautiful, but something that solves people's problems. Because the entire goal of the whole UI UX thing or product design thing is to solve people's problems. And if people's problems are not solved, then it doesn't matter if your skin is beautiful or not. You just haven't added value to people's life. You get, so even in the midst of course, graphic designers would always like prefer like the UI thing because it's really catchy. You'd want to still make sure that you're balancing both and providing value to people and also to even people that have hired you. Because if you provide value to people, people will pay, and then revenue comes to the company and they're able to keep you as a staff. But if you're not solving people's problems, it means that people can't pay, and then you can't be in that company. So you have to understand that in the midst of it all, design is a tool again to solve people's problems, create value, and then an impact in people's lives. Thank you so much, Ustaz, for that question. I think Oshopa said something on the chat that I really want to read out. This is very important, to be honest. He said for the UI aspect, one thing that can really help is replicating design patterns across the apps that you love. Yes, replicating designs really, really helps because you start to understand, certain things look the same. For example, now on the iOS, that place you have that status bar where you have where you have your battery, you have your Wi-Fi stuff. You notice that thing is across all iOS devices. It's a design pattern. So you start to understand some things that are replicated across different products or different apps that you use. So yes, replicating design patterns also helps. Use as many products as you can and see the interaction flows and process. What does onboarding look like? How do people choose dates on a calendar, etc. This is very important. I still do this thing now. Like I have a list of products that I have signed up on. I actually have no business with those products, to be honest, but I just want to see how it works. You get, so from signing up, okay, if I sign up with Gmail, they send me an activation message to my mail that says, oh, click on this link to verify your email. Oh, I'm like, oh, okay. But if I sign in with my name and all that, I still get the same thing. Okay, so this is how the flow works. Like from here, it redirects you to this. Okay, when I get on the app, I see they say, oh, welcome to blah, 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 blah. You can create a new, if you go to some new products, you see that onboarding where they say, Google does it too, where you highlight a particular part and say, you compose a new mail here. You say, okay, the next one, they'll now tell you, move to the next. So you just want to see how these products work inside, what the flow is like, what the process is like, and then basically learn a lot of things from that. Then also the third one is master typography, spacing, information hierarchy, interaction design. Yes. When that comes to like studying the products that you use or the apps you use, you want to know what font size, even on this Zoom that we are on, you find out that the font size of people's names at the side, it's bigger than the ones we have down. And then we have some up. So you find out that with font hierarchy, they are able to guide your eyes. The ones that are bigger are the ones that catch your attention first. You need that's the one that is more important. And the ones that are less important probably have like smaller fonts or they have dull colors. So these things also help you as a designer to know, if I want to create emphasis, this is how I can do it. If I want to de-emphasize something, this is how I can also do it. So I think that's also important.
Thank you so much, Kachi.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Timtayo has a question.
Okay.
Okay, Timtayo has dropped his hand again. I don't know. If Timtayo, if you have a question, please raise your hand. But aside that, I think we've done great work, and please let's thank Kachi once again in the chat. Okay, Timtayo has raised that.
Okay.
Yeah, hello. This is just a quick one. Is UI UX or / product, is it limited to just digital products or apps? Is it limited to that aspect only?
Thank you, Tintaya, for that question. Yeah, it's not limited to just digital products. So people that build, for example, the laptop that we're using now, it's it's a product. It's not just a digital product. So product design is not just software or websites or all those digital stuff. You also have like industrial things. People that design the phone that we're using is still part of product design. You know, people that are doing AR, okay, that's digital. We have like other there's the hardware part of it. So it's not just about apps and all that. Even though like that's where people in this country for now focused on, I guess. But outside this climb, it's not just restricted to digital products, you get.
Great. Timtayo, let's know if that's okay.
Yeah, it's very okay. Thank you so much.
All right.